Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rahak Kodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutation, much love and respect to you brothers out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. All right? We start this off with Revelations 13. Revelations 13 and verse 15. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." Okay? The image of the beast is speaking about the system. All right? So if you're not completely immersed in this system, by the time of that mark of the beast gets implemented, they're going to start to put you to death. Okay? Put you in those concentration camps, and they're going to either torture you or put you to death. Okay? Or both. You see what I'm saying? If you're not on the green list, right? Because they have a list where they have people who are in the green, which means they'll easily assimilate and agree with whatever the government says. And then you have those that are like in the blue, which are, they're gonna have to be re-educated, so to speak. And then you have those that are in the red that are just gonna put to death. Okay. Verse 16 it says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." That's speaking about the microchip, all right? This the RFID chip. They're going to want to plant that into every civilian's hand, man, all around the world. Not just in America, not just in Canada, not just in London. It's going to be all around the world, man, all right? It's going to be a world currency, a one world currency. You see, once this currency crashes now, the next currency is going to be eventually the RFID chip, where everything's going to be on that chip, and they're going to be able to monitor everything. Okay? It says, "And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Okay? So when you go to Revelations 14, it shows you the punishment for any Israelite that takes the mark of the beast, man. You see what I'm saying? If you're an Israelite, you take the mark of the beast. There's no hope. You can't take it out, man. Yeah, you take it out. Then what, man? You already took it, man. The Most High already set up the judgment. That's basically the final test, man. All right. So if you fail that, that's it. All right. This is Revelations 14 and verse 9. It says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand." So if you receive it, it doesn't matter what you do after that. If you receive it, then that's it. Okay? "The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." Okay, so that fire and brimstone is speaking about those nuclear missiles. Okay, you're gonna have to be caught up in either the nuclear fire from the missiles or the chariots. So one way or another, you're gonna be put to death by fire, man. Okay, and it says, "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the image of the beast, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." Okay, so that's the judgment for you receiving that chip, and that's why it's so important that we push that out there, man. Okay, you got Israelite groups who are basically, pussyfooting around the topic, and they're not giving you the direct truth when it comes to the mark of the beast, man. Okay, a lot of it has to do with their own pride, man. The fact that they don't want to admit that GMS is right. You see what I'm saying? So their pride stops them from coming out with the full truth. Excuse me. Okay, and the proof on that, the proof that these camps have pride. Look how much of those camps right now are preaching that Cornelius is an Israelite. They're pushing that out, but at the same time, going back to the old school, the apostles and elders always tell the story about how they kicked them out for pushing that doctrine in the first place. So did any of them make a video apologizing about that? No, because they lack integrity, man. All right? And the pride is what's holding them back from doing that. But anyways, man, regardless, the Most High is going to separate the true believers from the fake, man. There's gonna be a time of separation from the men of the Lord to these from the regular people, man. This is Zechariah 13 verse 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein." Okay, so the 1/3 is going to make it, while the 2/3 is going to be destroyed. All right? And guess what? There's a lot of Israelites right now who know they're Israelites, and they actually have camps, and they push out the word, so to speak. But a lot of them are 2/3. See? Because their spirit's not right. You know? They brought all that stuff from the world, and they brought that into the truth, instead of becoming a new creature. All right? It says, "And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power," man. And that's what the elect is going to say. 2/3 are not going to get to say that. You see what I'm saying? Really, right now, in this present moment, the only ones that are Israelites is the elect. Okay? Because there's a separation. 2/3 of our people, they're acting like heathen, so the Most High deemed them as heathen, man. He's treating them as such. Okay? Let's get Romans the 9th chapter. And that's why the scripture says, "Say not that we have Abraham as our father," man, because that's not going to deliver you in that time. Just because you're an Israelite, that's not going to deliver you in the time to come. You have to be an Israelite of the Most High. You have to be an Israelite that's chosen from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You see? This is Romans 9 and start at verse 1. It says, "I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bear me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, and to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises." So everything pertains to the Israelites, right? "Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the Salakia, whose are the fathers, and of whom concerning the flesh Hamashiach came, who is over all, the Most High blessed forever. Amen. Not as though the word of the Most High had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel." And that's the point, man. All right, we got a bunch of Israelites that walk by every day. You see what I'm saying? They're not the Israel of the Most High. The Israel of the Most High are going to be the ones that are going to cleave to this word and actually do something, actually put forth action. All right. It says, let me read that again. It says, "Not as though the word of the Most High had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel, neither because they are the seed of Abraham." Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called, man. All right, so it's the same thing as Ishmael, right? Ishmael was a son of Isaac, a son of Abraham, but was he a son of the promise? The answer is no, because Ishmael was the firstborn son, but that wasn't the son that the Most High wanted the line to go through, okay? Because he was from Hagar, man. The son was supposed to come through Sarah. You see what I'm saying? So that's what happened. So there's a difference, man. Just the way there's a difference between the elect and the 2/3, man. Okay? The 2/3 are completely gone. And guess who made them gone? The Most High made them gone. The Most High blinded them and made them degenerates, man. Okay? Let's get that in Isaiah 6 and verse 9. It says, "And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. All right? So the Most High say, listen, go and tell these people, you know, the word of the Most High, but guess what? They're not going to hear it. They're not going to understand it, even though you're telling it to them and you're making it plain as day. All right? And the reason being is because the Most High blinded them, man. All right? There's a chosen select group of Israelites that are gonna make it, man. A chosen select few, a chosen select group of Israelites that are gonna be able to receive this truth, man. The other 2/3, the 1/3, excuse me, or the 2/3 rather, they're not gonna receive it, man. Okay, because the Most High blinded them, man. Like for example, you had this case with that Edomite cop that shot that Jake. You got Jake giving her hugs and kisses and all type of madness, man. That's to show you how gone our people are, man. How trodden down our people are. You see what I'm saying? So what are you supposed to do with Jakes like that? They're not gonna make it. Those are not Jakes that are gonna turn and hear the truth and come into the truth. Nah, man. Those Jakes are gone, man. All right. Their mind is polluted with what we call plantation Christianity, man. You see what I'm saying? Where Esau beat a mentality into your brain that you keep to this day, man. All right? Because there was a point in time where they would give you something called the slave Bible, man. Which they didn't give you the full Bible. They took out like 80% of it, and they gave you like 20% that said what they wanted, and also took it out of context what they wanted you to know. See what I'm saying? Because guess what? If you were to have the full scriptures, you would see, you know, scriptures that dealt with vengeance, that dealt with recompense. They didn't have Revelations 13 and 9 in the slave Bible. All right. Matter of fact, let me switch the angles of this, man. Let me put this over here, man. Right. They didn't have Revelations 13 and 9 in the so-called slave Bible. They didn't have that. Okay. But guaranteed they had turn the other cheek. You know, love thy enemies. They had all those scriptures which they took out of context. But that's not speaking about Edomites. That's speaking about your brothers of your own nation. And specifically in this day, it's speaking of brothers in the truth. Okay? Let's get Revelations 13. You know? Because guaranteed, the people in the church, they don't read this, man. All right? Why? Because they're not dealing with the entirety of the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? They're dealing with what we call plantation Christianity. With that, the only thing they deal with is love your enemy, turn the other cheek. That's the only scriptures that they understand, that they think they understand, excuse me, and that they promote. Okay? Which basically makes them fucking doormats, man. All right? This is Revelations 13 and 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. That's called payback, man. If someone bleeds a people into slavery, which really, in the history, the transatlantic slave trade was the biggest slave trade in the history of the world. Okay? There was none. It was unprecedented. All right? Even the treatment of the slaves was unprecedented. Okay? That was the worst slavery that ever happened on the planet, period. Okay? Now it says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So that's payback, man. You see what I'm saying? And that's Revelation. So that's the New Testament. You see? But are they going to read that in the church to Israelites? No, they're not going to read that. Because guess what? That's going to put a spirit of, okay, so we don't got to accept everything that these devils dish out, man. You know? And those coon Jakes that were in that courtroom with, what's her name? What's that devil's name? Amber Geiger or whatever her name is. Right? They're giving her hugs and kisses after the verdict, saying they didn't want her to go to jail. Like I was saying, right? And all the brothers agree with what I'm saying, right? Is that if that was the other way around, them devils would have been looking to get you the death penalty, man. Okay? They would have been pissed off that you got 10 years for murder, first and foremost. and then they would have been striking so that you can get the death penalty, man. They wouldn't be giving you no hugs, man. They wouldn't be giving you no handshakes, man. You see? So that's the mentality. That's how low the saints have become, man. All right? Because the saints are only the Israelites, man. There's no other nations that's known as the saints, which saints mean sanctified, right? Which the Israelites are the only sanctified people that the Most High created. Let's get Psalms 149. It says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, Slakia, and a two-edged sword in their hand to execute vengeance upon the heathen. So what's vengeance, man? Vengeance is payback. Vengeance is a recompense, man. Judgment. You see what I'm saying? Someone does something wicked to you, you bring the vengeance. You bring the payment for that, man. All right? The judgment for that. You see? We're reading out the judgment of Esau, Edom, and the rest of these nations. But the Most High is going to actually bring that judgment physically. All right? And it says to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Fetters of iron is what the slaves used to wear in slavery. When you see like the yoke of iron, like what it reads about in Deuteronomy 28, the yoke of iron. When you type in Google yoke of iron, you're gonna see nothing but so-called black people. All right, going back to like the 1600s and even later than that. Let's say the 1800s, stuff like that. Okay, right? So that was an example of a yoke of iron or feathers of iron. But that's going to be put on the kings of these Edomites, right? Like the Queen Elizabeth, like the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys. They're going to get chains on them. You see what I'm saying? Because there's going to be a reversal of roles, all right, so to speak. This is it says to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, right? Like those people you see on the sign, those are the nobles of today, man, right? The Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the banking families. These people who are messing the planet up, all right, and robbing people, robbing everyone, all right? Those people are going to be put in chains under us, all right? And it says to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. Did this judgment happen yet? This is going back to Psalms with King David. Did this judgment happen yet? When were the heathen, when were the kings of the heathen put into chains under Israel, man? After the reign of King David, because we never ruled after that. We didn't rule after King David, man. Okay, I mean for a long period of time, except for well, if you go back to the Renaissance period, there was a time period when Israel was ruling, Europe and those places, but they weren't ruling the whole planet Earth. Okay. Let's get Isaiah the 14th chapter, because that has to come to pass, and that links up with Revelations the 13th chapter, where it says that he who leadeth into captivity goeth into captivity. You see what I'm saying? And these Edomites know they have to get paid back for that, man. They don't. That's why they don't feel easy around you Israelites, man. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American, because they know what they've done. You see what I'm saying? They know. But they're hoping that could just all be wiped away and bygones can be bygones, which that's impossible, man. All right? You do something like as wicked as what they've done, they ain't no bygones be bygones, man. There has to be judgment for that in order to keep the balance. All right? This is Isaiah 14 and verse 1. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Jacob and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Right? Going back to what? Going back to what I was reading in Revelations 13 and 9, man. Where it says that he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, man. All right? So now this is saying that we shall take them captives, whose captives we were. And who are we captive under, man? These are the slave ships right here, man. Who are we captive under? These so-called white people, which are known as Edomites today. Or which are known, when their true biblical nationality is Edomites, they're known as so-called white people today, or Caucasians. All right? So they're going to have to get paid back for that. You see? All Edomites, man. I don't care if you come from Portugal, Spain. You see what I'm saying? If you're an Edomite, you're going to have to get paid back. That's what the Bible's speaking about, man. It doesn't just speak about turn the other cheek. That's what these plantation Christians teach you, man. Okay? Because that was passed down from generation, right? Which was what they taught the slaves, man. So if your grandmother knows it and your grandfather knows it, he's going to teach it to you. You're going to teach it to your children, and the cycle continues, man. Okay? And guess what? These Edomites don't preach the same gospel that you preach. Speaking about you so-called Negroes in the church, man. All right? They don't preach the same gospel. You go down south, man. Matter of fact, the people that were lynching people were so-called Christians, man. All right? They were lynching you and they were Christians, man. All right? So that's to show you their mentality is not the same as your mentality, man. You had this Edomite, Amber Geyer. She fucking murdered the Jake, his brother's talking about, I forgive you and I love you. That's a mental disorder, man. Okay? That's something called Stockholm Syndrome, man. When someone kidnaps somebody and they're with them for a long enough time, right? Like for like a woman or something. You kidnap a woman, she's with you for a long enough time, then she's gonna end up loving you. That's called Stockholm Syndrome, man. Okay? That's what you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have, man. All right? And it says, verse 3. No, matter of fact, let me finish this off. And they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that thou shalt take up this parable against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. And the oppressor, the king of Babylon is speaking about the Edomites, because modern day Babylon is America, okay? You even have Edomites in the Bible Belt who know that America's Babylon, man, okay? That's Babylon, or Babylon the Great. This is not speaking about ancient Babylon, man, all right? It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and break forth into singing. So the earth is going to be quieted. It's going to be at rest. It's going to be at peace once these Edomites are taken out of power. Other than that, there's not going to be no peace. You Jakes, you so-called Negroes in America and around the world marching talking about no justice, no peace. Guess what? You're not going to get no justice, man. Okay? And you're not going to have no peace either. All right? Why? Because the devil is in rulership. As long as the wicked is in rulership, because the Edomites are known as the wicked according to the Bible, there was one nation that was particularly created to be the wicked and to do what they're doing, right? So we can't get mad at what they're doing, because that's what they were created to do. You see what I'm saying? But you're not going to have peace under the wicked, because they were created to take peace from the earth. Matter of fact, let me get that, man. Let's get that in Revelations, okay? And it's a sensitive topic for our people, because they want to make Esau as comfortable as possible, man. They don't care about their own comfort. They care about making him comfortable, all right? So they won't speak the truth, all right? This is Revelation 6, and I'll start at verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red. And this is speaking about Esau Edom, this horse, the red horse, okay? Because Esau Edom, what does the word Edom mean? The word Edom means red. Why was Esau called red, going back to Genesis 25 and 25? Because Esau came out without pigmentation, man. All right? So when Jacob saw him, right, he said, I Shashua, which means wasted away is he. The thing that was wasted away on him was his pigmentation. Okay? And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right, and that great sword represents his weaponry, his power of weaponry. Okay, or his blessing of the weapon. All right, it doesn't just mean a two-edged sword. It means his blessing as with the weapon. Period. Okay, because how did they take over the Native Americans, which are Gadites, which are Israelites, which are our brothers? How did they take them over? They didn't take them over because they were skilled in warfare, because the Native Americans were far superior than these Edomites in warfare. Okay? Even with the musket gun, the Native Americans were defeating them even when they had the musket gun. They were destroying them. Okay? What they had to do was they had to create something called the Gatling gun. All right? Which was something that shoots multiple rounds at a time. All right? That's the only way they were able to defeat the Native Americans, because that's their blessing of the sword, their blessing of weaponry. All right? Let's go. It says, and there was given unto him a great sword. Matter of fact, let's go to Revelations 20:27, because that's when Esau got the blessing of the sword. He got that going back to Revelations, right? That's when he got the blessing. And what do we get? We got the blessing of the kingdom of heaven. Okay? And that's why Esau, to this day, he has that hatred for our people, man. This is Genesis 27. And I'll start around verse 37. It says, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. Who did he make his Lord? He made us, the Israelites, right? Our forefather Jacob, which trickles down to us as Israelites. He made us the Lord. Eventually, we're going to be the lords of these Edomites. All right? He said, Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So Esau was crying because he wanted a blessing, man. Because Jacob took the blessing, right? And Esau was left with nothing at that point. But Isaac is still going to give him a blessing. It says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And the fatness of the earth means the best parts of the world, right? If you go somewhere, right, the Edomites are going to be in the best neighborhoods. Okay, you go to South Africa. Even in South Africa, Edomites have the best neighborhoods. Okay, you go to Venezuela. Edomites have the best neighborhoods. They have the fatness of the earth at this point in time. All right. And it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Did we not read in Revelation about a sword was given unto him? That's the sword it's speaking about, the blessing of the weaponry, and he lives by that. Everything that Esau, these so-called white people, got was based upon warfare, based upon murder, based upon stabbing people in the back and using what? The weapon, right? Right? They were bullying these other nations for so long because they had what? The nuclear weapon, the nuclear weapons program. So they were able to bully these other nations, right? They dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which was in Japan. And that right there put the world in fear, okay? That's why now they're going around these other nations and they're like, oh, stop with the nuclear program to North Korea, stop with the nuclear program to this guy, to that guy, because they don't want people to be on an equal playing field with them, all right? Because if they're on an equal playing field, what's going to happen? They're going to be able to do what they want to do. They don't have to listen to your authority, okay? And you can't continue to rob them either, you see? So I think that was it on that, man. Esau got the blessing of the sword. He got the fatness of the earth, and that's for now. These Edomites they're in the best neighborhoods no matter where you go on the planet, eh? If you go to South Africa, like I said, you have Edomites in the better neighborhoods. You go to Venezuela, Edomites are in the better neighborhoods. All right? If they live anywhere they live, they're going to be in a better neighborhood because that was what was given unto them, a blessing that was given unto them from Isaac. But that blessing is about to be taken from them, and a curse is about to be given to them. All right, a perpetual curse. Let's get Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. This is Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7. It says, Salakia. I'm in Numbers, Salakia. Let's get Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. All right, this is Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. It says, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right, so our enemies are going to get those curses that were put upon us for a period of time. Okay, that includes what? The slavery. That includes the rape, robbery, and murder. All right, except it's going to be in righteousness. When we do it, it's going to be in righteousness. It's going to be justified. You see what I'm saying? When Esau did it, he's not justified by the Most High. We're going to be justified by the Most High when we do it. Okay? Matter of fact, it's a commandment to do it. You see? Let me read that again. It says, this is Deuteronomy 30 and 7, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee. Do not these devils hate us, man? You Jakes are the ones that can't see that. We can see that. Us brothers, we can see that. Okay? But 2/3 of our people, right? The majority, they can't see it, man, because they're blinded, man. Okay? I won't even go as far as to say 2/3. I would say, a good percentage. Let's say 50%. I'll say about 50%. All right? Because there's even 2/3 Israelites that can see that. All right? It says, let's get Deuteronomy 28. We'll go through the curses a bit. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right? And then it goes through the list of the curses that overtook us because what? We didn't listen and hearken unto the words of the Lord, going back to the time of Moses, man. All right? So what happened was, when you read the scriptures, Israel was always going in and out of captivity, okay? Under the Babylonians, under the Greeks, under, the Persians, all that, okay? But this right here is the final captivity. After this captivity, there's not going to be any more captivities for us. After this is going to be perpetual rulership. You see what I'm saying? And when you go through these curses, it says, "Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field." When you go to the lowest income neighborhoods, who's normally in those neighborhoods? Is it not Israelites, or not so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? Right? You go to Brazil, you have favelas, which is nothing but projects in Brazil. Actually, they're worse than the projects, really. Okay? But who's over there? The Israelites, the indigenous, right? The so-called Negroes that are in that land. And where are the Edomites living? In the fatness of the earth, right? The best parts of the land, like I was reading before. But what's going to happen is, like it said in Deuteronomy 30 and 7, it's going to be a switch. They're going to go to the lowest of the low, all right? And we're going to go to the top of the top, all right? And that's going to be forever. There ain't going to be no, they're going to take us over. No, that's forever. That's what was written, okay? So that's an example. And then when you jump down to Deuteronomy 68, it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." And this is speaking about the new Egypt. It's not speaking about ancient Egypt, because the Israelites never went into ancient Egypt again. Okay? And definitely they didn't go in ships, because you don't need to go into Egypt in ships from Israel. All right? They walked out of Egypt, right? It says, "And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." And that's what happened recently with the transatlantic slave trade, right? So what the Most High is going to do is he's going to reverse all that. We're going to take them into captivity. They're going to have to serve us and get judgment. Okay? That's what the Bible is talking about, man. All right? It's speaking about the Israelites falling and rising. Okay? That's what it's speaking about. The fall of the Israelites, and then the Israelites getting the payback on their enemies. Okay? It's not speaking about love everybody, love your enemy, turn the other cheek. That's like I said, plantation Christianity. That's what they taught the slaves when they would take out 80% of the Bible and give them only those parts so that they could be brainwashed, man. Okay? And a lot of our people are still brainwashed by that today. All right? Let's get Joel the 3rd chapter, man. Because I find it amazing how you Israelites, you find it so quick to forgive these devils, but when it comes to your own brother, you got a problem with forgiving him, man. All right? You won't speak to a family member for 5 years over some trivial shit, but then a damn devil, an Edomite, will murder your brother, and then you're talking about, I forgive you. There's a problem with that, okay? That's clearly a mental issue, man. Okay? That's why the Most High has to have an ethnic cleansing of the Israelites, man. There has to be 2/3 that have to die, okay, on this side. They can't come into the kingdom with that mentality. All right? They have a sickness, man. You see? This is Joel 3 and verse 3. It says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? All right, so basically the Most High is getting on the so-called Africans, which are the Hamites, who sold us to these devils, okay? Because contrary to popular belief, we're not the same as them, man, all right? Those are Hamites, we're Israelites, man, okay? And it says, and all the coast of Palestine will ye render a recompense, Salakia, and all the coast of Palestine will ye render a recompense, and if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. In other words, you can't pay back the Most High for what you've done. You see what I'm saying? The Most High didn't say he's going to forgive and forget that. He said there has to be a judgment for that. He's going to bring that judgment on you. All right? And it says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. Children of Judah, children of Jerusalem, right? The southern kingdom, man. The so-called Negroes, right? The so-called West Indians, the so-called Haitians, man. Okay? And who are the Grecians that they were sold unto? All these Edomites. That was just the classification for Edomites in general. It didn't matter if they came from Portugal. It didn't matter if they came from Spain. It didn't matter if they came from Russia. When it says the Grecians, it's speaking about all Edomites. Okay? It says that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Okay? So that means that the Most High is going to judge you for what you did to us, man. Okay? So all this plantation Christianity that you hear our people speaking about, that's not even biblical, man. Okay? Where they're supposed to apply it, they don't apply it. But they apply it to their enemy, the one that the scriptures is telling them not to apply it to. You see? So that shows you that plantation Christianity has done something to the minds of the Israelites, man. Has really done something, man. Okay? And that